Let me tell you about a handyman. This guy was in a town of approximately 60,000 people. He was running Google ads, spending around $200 every single month. And what he was getting for that money, he told me, was a lot of text messages. Not even that many text messages, but no calls, text messages from people who would never reply back when he responded. Complete waste of money. He didn't have a website. He was using his Facebook business page. He didn't have a visible address on his Google business profile, which takes much longer to rank with Google's algorithm. And when I ran his rank map back in December 5th, here's what it looked like. He has a few green dots intermixed with all yellow and red. Yellow and red doesn't really matter. With Google Maps, they're both invisible. Top three gets ranked. 6, 7, and 8 told me he had some ranking, and I wouldn't change that because he would have lost that existing rank. But when someone in his town typed handyman near me across all these dots in the town here, he didn't show up. Nobody's clicking that down button outside the top three. Now, let me explain what a rank map is. The few green dots here is where he did show up, and he had 5 to 10% of the market, not even 10%, 5 to 7%. And this is where the rest of the map, he didn't exist. And that's why he wasn't getting very many calls. And the Google ads, sponsored ads, people don't trust them as much. Sometimes three sponsored ads, they compete for 15 to 20% of all clicks or calls because people don't trust them. People know they're paying to be there, and while the top three in Google Maps are recommended by Google and they're trusted, people trust that more, and those three businesses get all the credibility. That's why they achieve 70% of our clicks. So what did I advise him to do? To optimize his GBP, upload all these photos. To start with, upload these 10 photos with Handyman and his location as part of the name. And 2 Google posts a week, before and after photos, increase his review speed. Because he already had good reviews, he was in a good position compared to the opposition with reviews. So that wasn't his problem. He was doing good work. I know it because I've seen his photos, and I've spent 12 years in construction myself. Started out as a timber frame, that for 5 years, and I know how tough the work is in construction. After that, I did office renovations and built new offices built offices for a lot of very big names that you're probably aware of today. I told him to put 2 Google posts a week. And the thing about the guy, he did all this on his Facebook. As in construction, look, people in construction move from high school into the trades business, and that's something I understand. And he was familiar with Facebook, and he did all this on his Facebook page. And February 2nd, I ran his rank map again. Even I was surprised. Not so much because that rank map here, a lot of 6s and 7s shows that he wasn't that far away. He was doing good work. I was worried about his not having a visible address, but he was just over a couple of years in business, so it took a long time for Google to get over that hurdle, which they do like to not punish people, but they rate you faster if you have a visible address, if you're a service-based business. I ran his rank map again, and here is what and here's his rank map, February 2nd, I believe, approximately 2 months later. And as you can see, he's all green all over town. 4s and 5s in the bottom right-hand side, which says that if he keeps continuing what he's doing, he'd be green in the whole town. What does that mean? That means everybody in that town that types in handyman near me on their mobile phone, he's going to show up in the top 3 in that Google Maps rank. And that means that those 3 businesses share 70% of all calls. So after I ran that, I sent him a text message. I asked him how his business doing. Is he getting more calls? He told me he was inundated with calls, and he told me he was getting 4 to 5 calls every day, which is a high volume of calls, even for that population of 60,000. And he said it was coming through his Facebook Messenger. It was because Google, he thought it was coming through Facebook, but it wasn't. It was coming from Google, because Google had considered his Facebook business page to be his website. And when somebody clicked on his Google business profile, that website, it says website, when somebody clicks that, it was going to his Facebook business page instead of a website because he didn't have one. When people got to his Facebook business page, they contacted him through Facebook Messenger. He thought it was Facebook, but no, it was Google Business Profile. If he'd done the same on his Google Business Profile, he would probably have been there faster. It was enough in a town of 60,000 to overcome that because despite one main competitor, the rest of the handymen were probably relying on word of mouth. Here's the kicker. He was spending $200 every month on Google Ads. Hardly any results. He canceled it. I told him to cancel. You don't need the ads anymore. So he could not get his head around it. So he's canceled his ads. The calls have kept coming in. He's getting 4 to 5 calls every day. And here's what happened once he moved into the top 3. The number 1 ranked competitor in that town for years was a franchise operation. As I told him, they had 5 vans on the road. And when I checked them, they were green all over the town. I knew they were a franchise after checking their website. And they're in multi-locations, other states, etc. Almost certainly a full-time marketing agency behind them. But for some reason, they had fewer reviews than my client. So when this handyman hit the top 3 with more reviews and a higher average, he started catching a larger percentage of those calls, that 70%. And remember, it's not a fair, even divide between the top 3. It's the guy with more reviews tends to get a little higher percentage. If you are in the top 3, you have 150 reviews, and even if you're 2 and 3, the guy number 1 has 90 reviews. The guy with 150 will get more of that 70%. The number 1, the franchise operation, would have noticed a drop in their call volume, and their marketing team probably was contacted, and they seen that this other handyman had come out of nowhere, and hopefully they were smart enough to observe that he had more reviews, and I guess they did, because that top-rated company reacted in what was a kind of a rapid increase in their reviews, which can happen if you have a good review system in place. So now they have almost caught up to my client in reviews, and so they will probably be earning. The other handyman was way behind in reviews, probably not getting a huge majority of that, a lower percentage of that 70% of calls. So if a franchise with a full marketing agency feels threatened by one guy following some basic steps, imagine what you could do in your own town. What can we take from this? If you're a contractor, plumber, roofer, electrician, house cleaner, any home service business, and your phone isn't ringing the way you want it to, the answer is you're not in the top 3 in Google Maps. You might be ranked 4th, 5th, or 6th in your town, but that means 70% of the people looking for exactly what you do are calling somebody else. Now, I worked 12 years in construction, timber framer, then office construction in New York City for 8-9 more years. Then circumstances led me to go back to college in 2011, and I did a 2-year degree in digital marketing. And I decided it was something I really liked doing, and I decided to go at that full time. So I've been at this for years in Europe mainly, and I built a successful business over there. Now I've returned to America. So in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to check where you rank, what Google actually looks at when deciding who gets those top 3 positions, and the specific steps to get your business here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those.